Howdy folks, gonna do a quick little roster review. Name's Dr. Evil, collection 7.1 mil. I have quite a few orbs to open that I was eagerly awaiting for the orb event for, to no avail. So I'm gonna go over my roster real quick and then I will open a whole bunch of orbs. So we're going to sort these and go through the teams, and I'll kind of explain what I was sort of thinking somewhat. Done jack squat with aim except for Scientist Supreme. I took to 14 for Dark Dimension 3. Hindsight, probably not the greatest choice. She was okay, helped a little bit. Once in a while I got a res, but that's about it. I probably wouldn't do it again if I had to do it over. As Guardians, I took Hella straight to 14 for DD3. Totally worth it. Gonna take her to DD4, absolutely. Immediately took all my Asgardians to tier 12. And there they've stayed because I haven't been convinced I will need to take them anywhere else. Debating if I want to try taking Thor into DD4, but not entirely sure yet, so he will stay at gear 12 until I actually commit or not. My X-Men, I've kind of been slacking. I really should upgrade my Beast a little bit, but kind of had him on the back burner for now. Okay, well, Avengers has a whole bunch of stuff on it, but basically my Avengers team, a Captain America and Hulk, I've kind of never really gotten to tier 12 yet. Kind of the work. Same with Hawkeye and Black Widow. I kind of had them on the back burner. So, anyways, we'll hit Shield a little later. So, next up, Black Order. And my Thanos is gear 14, of course. And I'm really debating whether or not I should take all of them to gear 14 and use them as my primary arena team. I'm currently not using them as my arena team, and it just kind of seems inevitable that once you get up into the top 100 that you're pretty much facing all Black Order. So I'm not quite sure what I'm gonna do there yet. I'd like a couple more Cull shards and I can get him to 5/5, and I'm currently farming Proxima to get her to 7. So that would be my Black Order team. Brotherhood is a team I've neglected. Probably should work on them. They're a pretty decent arena offense team. But as you can see, Blob and Toad, I've just kind of, unlocked them and did absolutely nothing with them. So maybe one day if I get everything else worked on that I want to, I'll take a look at them more. Defenders, I took Jessica Jones to 13, one of my first 13 ones, and I would not recommend that. That was kind of a waste. Just leave them all at gear 12, call it a day, unless they do a rework on them. They're basically trash now, and it's sad because they were the thing to have when they first came out. Fantastic Four, I've neglected. I only got my Invisible Woman to gear 11, tier 11, pretty much last week, solely for Doom 3, but Fantastic Four is a pretty good arena offense team, and if I wasn't so far behind I'd probably work on them a little bit, but I don't know if I'll ever get around to it. But they are a pretty decent team and I probably should work on them. Hand, like who cares, really? Hand is trash. Hydra. I had started working up my minions here for war defense, and managed to get Red Skull to 10, but you know what? They have like 2 hard counters now and a couple soft counters, so I don't really think they're worth investing into anymore. So, as you can see, I chose rather to invest in my Zemo and get him up to 12. So I've got a pretty decent Hydra counter team because lots of other people still have their Hydra teams, and Zemo just crushes them all. So definitely take your Zemo straight to 12. Well worth it. In humans, of course, Black Bolt's my shining star there. He pretty much does everything. Yo-Yo, of course, I took to 13 just so she sticks them offense downs a little better. And Crystal, I definitely did the T4 on second wind. Totally worth it. Definitely do that if you can. It just gives the team way more sustainability. Karnak's the only one I've kind of neglected there, and I don't know, I don't really have a young Avengers team, so Ms. Marvel's kind of in limbo right now, so she kind of fills in on my Inhumans. Kree, not much going on there. Some are at tier 9, some are at tier 8. My Minerva, of course, is at 14 for Dark Dimension 3, and she will be going with me to Dark Dimension 4. Absolutely, 100%. Captain Marvel, I would love to take her to 14 just because I'm pretty fond of Captain Marvel, but just really not worth it, so I can't really justify spending those kind of resources. So she'll stay there for a while. Marauder team, I've taken them all straight to 13, and I've invested heavily in my Mr. Sinister. Took him to DD3. Wasn't a shining star in DD3. I feel like he was alright, but just as a character by himself, totally awesome. And on that Marauder defense team, so hard to beat, so definitely worth investing into. And I'm very tempted to pop my Strife to 14, but I'm not going to do it, I don't think, because it's just, again, tons of resources that could be used elsewhere, especially with DD4 open now. Mercs, I kind of been working on here and there. Got most of them up to tier 12. Killmonger, I would like to work up a little bit. He's on my war defense team with Shuri, because Wakandans aren't all that great. I feel like they're used better on that Merc defense team. They really give them a boost, and they're a tough team to beat. So, power armor. As you can see, I've totally neglected Ironheart and Rescue, and just haven't built them up. If power armor were a little better, I might consider getting them up to a respectable level, but the power armor team is just, they're pretty good, but I don't quite think they're up in the top 10 or anything like that, so I kind of left them there for now. So let's see what's next. The brand new Pimtech team. Went ham on Ghost and got Ghost up to tier 12 right away, and was sort of dabbling with the others and kind of got bored of them, to be honest. I already beat DD2 and DD3, so there really wasn't any reason to take them into there, and I'm not convinced that I'd want to take the whole team to DD4, which would be a tremendous resource load. So I'd say if you haven't done DD2 yet, I'd definitely build up your Pimtech and see how they do. It'd be kind of interesting. And if you haven't done DD3 yet, who knows, maybe you'd want to build them up and take them in, but for me it's kind of a little too late. So Pimtech, I don't think I will invest any much more into, unless something else changes. I'm skipping over Ravager because they're trash. So Shield team, I'm planning on taking Fury into DD4, but since he's legendary and on the last couple nodes, I'm probably going to wait until I get all my other tunes done first, and then he'd be one of the last ones. I'm kind of going to wait on the legendaries. Don't know if there's any advantage to that or not. I just figured I'm not quite going to take him to 14 until I'm ready to take him to 15. That's kind of my thinking. I took all my shield to tier 13 for war defense, and they do pretty good, but they have some counters too, and they don't hold up a whole ton like they should. But anyways, they do a pretty good job, and I am a big fan of shield, so they do alright. Sinister 6. I've kind of pushed them up a little bit as I've needed to, just out of necessity. It'd be nice to have them all at tier 12, but I just don't think the Sinister 6 is all that great of a team. However, once they came out with Doc Ock, he totally changed that. Doc Ock really makes the team worthwhile. He gives them so much more sustainability and turns them actually into a pretty decent war defense team, which is where I've got them now. So I'm working on getting my Electro and Swarm up just a tad. As they get a little stronger, I'll probably swap out Green Goblin, probably, and run Doc Ock, Electro, Swarm, Vulture, and Rhino on war defense for now until I come up with somewhere else to put him. But Doc Ock definitely wasn't sold on him right away. I didn't know if he'd be all that great or make that big a difference, but he definitely makes the Sinister 6 usable, whereas before I don't think they were that great for anything. Let's go to Supernatural. I actually really like playing the Supernatural team, but I haven't really invested in getting them all to tier 12 just because they really can't beat too many meta teams, and you mostly gotta punch down on any decent team that's on war defense. So I wish they were a little better than they are, but they're super fun to play, and so I've just kind of left them there for now. I took Ghost Rider to 13. I was about to take him into DD3 and take him to Gear 14, but then the Symbiotes came out and that put a stop to that. So he'll hang out at tier 13. So, speaking of Symbiotes, here's my Symbiote team, and I went ham on them for sure. I pulled a 7 red out of a regular old Red Star orb and immediately started farming him from the War Store back when there weren't so many tunes in there. And he's kind of been the star of my Symbiote team. And then once I got into DD3, I started working on Symbiote Spider-Man and got him into tier 14. Then once the kind of neglected Venom and left him alone, but once the other 2 symbiotes came out, I bumped Venom up to 13, and I already knew Anti-Venom was going to be huge help to the symbiotes, so I took him to 14 and used him my second time around in DD3, and he absolutely killed it. So I definitely recommend Carnage, Symbiote Spider-Man, and Anti-Venom for DD3. That's all you need, just the 3 of those, and you're good to go. And you'll just absolutely crush it. So, getting down to the bottom, X-Men is a team that I've also neglected in the past. I feel like I just keep saying I'm neglecting every single team, which the reason I am for that is probably because I've kind of more focused on getting individual tunes to 14, because my whole entire goal is pretty much beating the Dark Dimensions, and they're more of a tune-based instead of team-based event, so you'll notice I've got a lot of gaps where I don't have nice big strong teams that are pretty strong across the board. I've got 1 or 2 good characters and I haven't really worked up the rest. But taking people to T14, tier 14 is just so resource intensive that the fastest way to do it is neglecting all your other tunes. So X-Men's one that I really would like to work on and get them up and usable, because they are a great war offense team. So I'm working on my Cyclops, getting him up a little bit to be usable. I got Colossus going, got him to tier 12, might take him to 13, we'll see. Might pop that button soon. I'd like to get Storm and Psylocke up. I got, 5 red stars is pretty good, and would make them pretty usable. Like I mentioned earlier, my Beast I've kind of I was gonna take him up and just kind of fell by the wayside, so he's one maybe. I still haven't gotten Wolverine to tier 12 either. That's kind of on my to-do list also. So I'd like to really work on my X-Men. I feel like they'd be one of the next things I probably should do because they're such a good offensive team. Wakandans, I haven't really done much with. Already touched on the Avengers. X Factor, brand new. We'll see if they amount to anything. X-Force is, I think, a very underrated team. They're a great offense team, and currently trying to get Negasonic up a little bit. I definitely think Negasonic and X-23 are their stars, so I took X-23 up to tier 13 because she's just good enough that she's worth it. So the whole team in general is pretty good. I would take yours immediately to tier 12. And I'm kind of debating if I want to take them all up to 13, but I'd like to level them all up to at least 71 first, and they may be a top contender for what I work on next. So X-Men and X-Force are kind of on the forefront of my mind for teams to work on. So, I've mentioned Young Avenger, haven't really done much, haven't even done nothing with Squirrel Girl, anything like that, so I don't know, if they come up with somewhere where they're really good or really useful, I may do something with them, but we'll see. Anyways, that's about it for my roster review. So I haven't opened up much of any orbs in a long time, so I'm about to do a big orb opening, and as you can see, there's lots of tunes who I could really use a whole bunch of shards for that I'm pretty low on. There's a lot I've got at 6 stars that could use a bunch to get up to 7. So there's just kind of an overview. There's my Thanos. Emma Frost is absolutely awesome. Absolutely awesome. Take her right up as high as you can immediately. Guardians were my go-to team for DD3. DD2, sorry. And take them to tier 13 for DD2 if you want, and then just leave them there. They're pretty much not that great after that. They're not even that great of a war offense team. They just kind of, with all the new characters coming out, they haven't been really as good as they used to be. So that's about it. Don't think there's really anything else to go over, and let's pop some orbs open and see what kind of goodies we can pull out of there.